Welcome to the Determined Man podcast, where we help men become better versions of themselves and discover their life's purpose. Join us as we unlock the power of discipline and what it means to be determined. Remember, stay consistent, build the discipline, feed the motivation. Hey everyone, Zach here. Guys, welcome back to episode 7 of the Determined Man podcast. Guys, I'm excited about today's episode because today is just going to be story time, discussing some life lessons, things like that. Obviously, we've had the fitness review. We're going to have the book review. I promise. It's happening, right? So I did a kind of another fitness one, talking about how to change your life in 90 days, mainly towards weight loss. We're eventually going to get some interviews on. But today I just want to kind of talk about some life lessons, some leadership skills, things that I've came across recently in my workplace, and just kind of talk about it and things that I think can hopefully help you. But before we get into that, I saw I can't remember whose Instagram it was, like yesterday, the day before, and it really spoke to me, and I wanted to bring that up here. You know, we always think we need to prioritize everything. We have a lot on the plate. We just need to add to it. We have these New Year's resolutions. We have all these goals. We got to do more, and more. And the reality of it, I think, is that we don't have the time or energy for everything. We have to prioritize, right? We're balancing our personal lives. We're balancing our relationships, marriage, kids, whatever. We're balancing our careers, right? Those things take up the majority of our time. And we're left with very little time left to do the things that we want, right? To do the things like working out, fitness, to read books, to practice our instruments, things like that. We're trying to do it all, but we have to prioritize. And basically, don't think about what to succeed in all of them. Think about the things that are the least important that you can give up on. But you have to drop the things that are not going to help you towards your long-term goal. Perfect example for me, you see the trumpet back there, right? Well, it's a trumpet lamp. But, I'm a musician. I have my degrees in music, and I really enjoy playing. But I have not picked up the trumpet, I think, since December 3rd, December 6th. I don't know, sometime around there. Haven't played in anything. Haven't practiced in anything. And, I do miss it. And I actually just got called the other day to play at Easter, but I'm turning that down because I'm also competitive and I hold myself to a standard, and I'm not practicing right now. I'm not good enough in my mind, but I want to get back to that level. But what I've noticed with this transition, with me focusing on fitness more and not focusing on music as much, is fitness, like we discussed earlier, fitness is the foundation. It is bettering my life in way more ways than music. And, another thing, I had a big hobby that I was really focusing on, good at a couple years ago, was chess. I'm a big chess player, was the president of the chess club in my college. And when I moved here, Charlotte has a really good chess center, and I started playing tournaments again and really focused on it for about a year. But it was taking a ton of time. So I was spending a ton of time with music and chess, but I wasn't seeing the benefits or the gains for that. Now, if you replace those things, and the amount of time I spend on fitness is ridiculous, right? I'm probably in the gym for at least 2 hours every day. So I'm doing some cardio and lifting. Every day I work out, like 5 days a week, right? Now, if I spent that much time practicing my trumpet or studying chess, I would be great in those things as well. But I don't know if it would make me better in everything else. Like, basically, fitness has to happen. I know a lot of people that are really good musicians, are really good at whatever their skills or craft is, but they don't focus on fitness. So it's good that you're good at a thing, but fitness needs to be one of those baselines. It needs to be that habit, like brushing our teeth, taking showers, right? Like, it needs to be a thing. And what I have not mastered yet is incorporating fitness and then doing those other things, right? So I am still personally working on developing fitness as, hey, those 2 hours, it's just added on. So I got to work for 8 hours every day, right? Plus I have to work out for 2 hours. That's 10 hours every day. I got to get 8 hours of sleep, 18 hours every day. That's not leaving very much time. Okay, then I got 30-minute drive to work, 30-minute drive back. So maybe I'll listen to some podcasts during that time to get, instead of music, podcast, right? And then I got to read for 30 minutes a day. You can see how your time starts running out. And then you could say, okay, well, you can practice for 30 minutes and then play chess for 30 minutes. But then also you have to live a little bit. You have to have a life, I think, so you got to socialize. That's super important. Getting involved with people, having friends over, going out for dinner. And then you got to spend time with your loved ones. That's your family, your friends, your spouse, your kids, right? So I say all that to say, don't think about being good at everything. Don't put too much on your plate. Look at the list of things that you have to do, like I just did. And if I am thinking about the ones, I'm dropping chess. Chess is the first thing I'm not going to do. The first thing I'm dropping off. Do I still like to play? Yeah. Is it fun? Yeah. But it is not going to help me towards my long-term goal. The next is playing the trumpet. Eventually, I'm going to get back into it. But right now, it's not focusing on my long-term goal. So keep that in mind. Don't get, beat up on yourself when you see yourself perishing skills in certain things, or you're not being able to do certain things that you want to do. Think about that. That was just something I saw on my Instagram, and it really kind of spoke to me, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. That was way too long. Sorry. Now let's get into a little bit of story time. Okay, so long story short, a couple weeks before Christmas, I was kind of like the Grinch at work. I don't know. I got kind of into my headspace. I was just not there. I was not motivated, and I was kind of pulling back from the team. And honestly, one of the things, I didn't even attend 2 Christmas parties. I was supposed to go and I didn't go. And I'm kind of known to be the, extrovert, outgoing person. And I even had a couple of my coworkers make comments to me about why I didn't go. And they felt like it wasn't going to be as much fun if I wasn't there. Things like that. So I kind of felt bad about not going. But I had made up my mind that I kind of wanted to be the Grinch during that time. And I was like, I'm sticking to this. And I don't need anyone else. And they're going to see, they're going to feel this, right? And then I'm like, why? I'm being someone I'm not. And so I took this time over the holiday period, before the new year, to kind of recalibrate, reset. And this kind of stemmed, I made this comment to some of my coworkers, right after Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving, that I didn't feel like we were like a family or tight at work. And it really upset some of them, and it kind of upset me. And the cool thing is we all reflected upon it individually, not knowing that we were reflecting upon it. And we revisited that. And it's like, well, maybe I didn't mean it, or maybe this is the context I meant. And so we clarified some things, which I think is needed. A lot of times people say stuff in the moment or in the heat of things, or it gets interpreted a certain way. So I think whenever those things happen to you, you always should try to clarify, reconnect, figure those things out. So that really affected me. And then I was like, I'm not going to go to these Christmas parties, and I'm just going to be the Grinch, and I'm just going to be me and take care of me. And, it's crazy. I would say, though, that you shouldn't lead that way, right? Like, you shouldn't try to be someone that you're not. So I was telling myself, I want to be kind of a tough smart ass or an asshole, right? But I'm like, that's not me. That's not my personality. And your subordinates are going to see right through that. Your coworkers are going to not want to work with you like that. And so you shouldn't change who you are, and you shouldn't let others impact how you feel. So I came back from the new year and I said, look, I'm going to basically lead the way I think needs to be, this place needs to be led. I'm a pretty senior leader in my organization, and I feel like I'm doing the right things for the right reasons. And I'm just going to do it regardless of the help or the lack of help that I'm getting from everyone else. And I'm just going to lead by example. So I really started doing that. And honestly, I felt way better about it. I think all my subordinates are seeing that. They're responding positively to that. And I'm kind of like, hey, you get on board or just get out of my way kind of thing. I'm going to do the right things. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be motivated. I'm actually starting a quote unquote book club at work. So we're going to read articles and books and discuss things. We're doing some mandatory PT time where we work out together and stuff like that. Because I think all that stuff brings the team together. So, people are going to read right through you. Don't change who you are just because of others. Don't lead in a way that you think you should. Just lead in the way that if you know what you're doing is right and you have that long-term goal, kind of like we do in our personal lives. But if you see that goal for your team or your organization, be disciplined and dedicated and determined towards that. So don't ever pretend to be someone else. But also that doesn't mean don't be willing not to change, right? I think a lot of times we say, be yourselves, don't change for anyone else or whatever. But if we want to be the next better version of ourselves, that implies that we need to change, right? So I've changed personally. I've changed my outlook on life. I've changed my priorities on things that I do. I don't go out as much socially. I'm not drinking, obviously. I just talked about the hobbies that I'm not involved in anymore. And that's a tough thing to change, especially depending on how old you are. Like the older you get, the more stuck you are in your ways. but it takes, a critical thinking, a humble person to self-reflect and analyze your own life, what you're doing that's not working. How can you lead better? And the thing about being a leader of leaders, which is what we want to do, is it's hard. It's tough. You're always going to get critiqued. You're always going to get feedback, positive, negative, right? People are always going to have, oh, you should do this. You should do that. You got to be determined in your way. You got to be confident in yourself, but you also have to develop that team to make sure that they know you truly care about them. You truly care about the organization, the mission, whatever. But, it doesn't mean you can't change. It doesn't mean you can't hear someone out and say, you know what, that's a great way of doing it. Let me think about that. Let me take some time and come back to you. But also changing, to be the next better version of yourself means you got to get rid of certain things, get rid of toxic habits, get rid of toxic friend groups, change your routine, add different positive habits, and change your leadership style in some ways. There's always going to be those naysayers. There's always going to be people to critique. Just generally be a good person, generally care about those under you, and you'll be successful. So guys, I don't know. It was kind of all over the place. I know. Sorry. But long story short of it all, I was feeling like really pressured at work. I was feeling a lot of pressure, and I was just really upset. And I was like, I want to show everyone I don't need anyone here. I'm just going to take care of me. And that felt awful. Like I just felt it like, it's like, that's not me. And I felt like it was changing me to someone who I didn't like, so don't let it change you for the negative, right? Now, I took all this, I reflected upon it. I took the break, the holidays, and that's why I recommend to you guys, if you're feeling stressed for work, if you're feeling fatigued for your mind or even your body, like breaks are okay. Rest is okay. It's okay to take time to reflect, recover, and come back strong. So that's what I did. I took the holidays. I thought about it. I'm like, man, is that really what I want to do? Am I caving to this pressure? Or do I want to be the next better version of myself? Do I want to be a leader of leaders, lead by example? And I'm going to come back to New Year strong. I'm going to do what I think is right. I'm going to lead by example. And we're going to get up on this horse and we're going to keep grinding. And that's what I decided to do. And I feel way better about it. I'm less stressed about it. I still got a lot of work to do, right? Always self-improving, always reflecting. We get pretty confident in ourselves and our opinions. And we don't think that other people have better way. Like we think we're always right. I know best. I know better. Hey, let's take some humble pie every now and then. Let's listen to some people. And these are things that I'm getting from my book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Obviously, I'll do a deep dive into that when I finish the book. But these are some of the chapters, and I've been trying to instill that. And that's the cool thing about reading every morning. I try to apply what I've read in that day. And I actually got a compliment or a comment at work saying, you seem more stoic. They said that I seem more stoic. And it's kind of funny because I listen to the Daily Stoic podcast a lot. So I'm trying to implement those things. And when people see that, it's a really good feeling that when that gets reciprocated. So guys, just be yourself, but also be open to change. Don't put too much on your plate. Prioritize, drop those things that are not helping you towards your long-term goal, and then get up there and get after it. Guys, stay consistent, build discipline, feed the motivation. My name's Zach, and I will talk to y'all later. Deuces.